Hello everyone, I'm Claire, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a Q&A to celebrate 1 year of making YouTube videos. I posted my first short on October 21st of last year and my first long-form video on December 6th, so I thought it would be a good time to reflect a little on my experiences and also give you the chance to get to know me a bit more. I asked for questions in my community tab and over on Instagram, and I'll be answering them now. Didn't get a ton of questions, so I should be able to get to them all, and I really appreciate everyone who took the time to ask me something. So let's get into it. We'll start with what is potentially the most difficult question. I got a version of this on both YouTube and Instagram, and it's, do you have a favorite formula of polished wear / what's your favorite finish? And also, are there any formulas you never wear? And the reason that this is a hard question is that one of my favorite things about nail polish is the variety and being able to change up the vibe of what I'm wearing week to week. Like last week I did kind of an elegant wintry mani with some linear hollows and shimmer, and this week I went a little more bold with a flaky thermal and a hollow glitter. I love shifty shimmers, I like multi-chromes, I like flakies and hollow and reflective glitters, so it's difficult to pick a favorite. If I could only wear one finish, I might go with shifty shimmers because they have that visual interest and it's fun to see them in different lighting, but they're also just easier to deal with than glitters or flakies when it comes to application and removal. But I'm glad that that's just a hypothetical and I don't actually have to limit myself. When it comes to any finishes I never wear, I can think of a couple that I haven't tried. I've never worn a textured polish and I've never worn a solar polish, but I'm not opposed to trying them, I just don't come across them very often. I can't think of anything that I have tried and wouldn't wear again. The next question is, what does your nail area look like? So I don't have a dedicated area where I keep all my nail polish and do my nails. Things kind of happen in different areas. Like I keep all of my nail polish in my bedroom. You can see all of my hollow tacos next to me back here. I keep them on top of my dresser. And then I also have an IKEA Helmer here where I keep all of my Mooncats and my Cadillacers and my Lurids and also some nail tools. There's also another shelf that we just moved into the room, which is mostly my partner's overflow board game storage, but I also keep some extra supplies like acetone and backup top and base coats in there. But I don't do my nails in here, I do them at a small extra table that we have in the dining room, so I just bring everything over there when I want to paint my nails and then put it away after. Which is maybe not the most convenient, but it's not that big a deal. I think the main reason that I don't have everything in one place is that I hadn't gotten into nail polish yet when we moved into this apartment, so we weren't arranging with that in mind. But even now, I don't know if there's a better way to do things in the space, even if we wanted to rearrange. Because I do have kind of an office space, which is where I used to film videos, but it's not ideal for nail polish because it's not temperature controlled. Like the rest of the apartment has AC and heat, but that room doesn't. I think it's like a converted porch or something, so it's not connected to the rest of the system. So it gets very warm in the summer and very cold in the winter, which is not the ideal condition for storing nail polish, and it's carpeted, so not the perfect place to paint my nails either. So I think I'll be sticking with my current system as long as we're in this apartment. It works well enough. Then the next question is, if you had to add another brand that you would purchase from, what brand would you choose and why? So if you don't know, I only buy nail polish from 4 brands: Hollow Taco, Mooncat, Cadillacer, and Lurid Lacquer. You probably do know that because by far my most watched video is the one where I explain my reasons for limiting the brands that I buy from. But basically it's my way of keeping my nail polish collection to a manageable size and not spending too much. And I'm really not looking to add a 5th brand at this point because there's just not a lot of wiggle room in my budget right now. But there are a few brands that I've been tempted by or that I've considered. I actually do have a 5th brand in my collection now. I won some Geeky Bees polishes in a giveaway that Polished Mess did over on Instagram. So in some ways it would make sense for them to be the 5th brand that I buy from since I already have some, but I'm not sure if I'll add any more to my collection. I'll probably talk about my thought process with that a bit more when I make a video reviewing the polishes. Then I've also considered LA Colors after seeing Linry do a lot of reviews of them on her channel. They seem to have some really nice jelly polishes and they're super affordable, so they could be a good option. IL&P is also kind of always in the back of my mind. I feel like it's almost inevitable that I'll end up with some IL&Ps in my collection someday because They're just such a solid, consistent brand. They have a really good reputation for quality. They have a huge catalog, and I like the way that they do business. But I also don't tend to be excited enough by individual ILNP releases to make the leap and start buying. They don't really do limited edition though, so I know they'll be there if I ever do decide that I want to try them. Then I've also considered a couple indie brands. One is Cracked Polish. I wasn't super interested when they first opened a couple years ago because of the types of polish they were making, like their glazed donut polishes, but they've been doing a lot of different stuff lately, and I hear nothing but good things about them, so I've definitely been tempted by them a few times. I am planning to try some of their basics, like base and top coats, when I start to run out of my Holo Taco and Mooncat ones, because the ones from Cracked are priced so much better, but I don't count that the same way as buying actual polish from a brand. And then the last one I can think of that I've been tempted by is Sylvanclaw. There have been a lot of new indie brands popping up in the past year or so. Fauve Cosmetics, Apocalypse Polish, Prism Parade, and they all seem cool, but Sylvanclaw has a very fun vibe, and I like the polishes they're putting out as well as the collection themes. They have a very magical, whimsical vibe, so I have been interested in trying them. But again, not planning to add a fifth brand right now. I'll just try to manifest getting enough subscribers that someone will add me to their PR list. Next question is, how did you start in this hobby? So I've always liked nail polish. I have memories of wanting to use my mom's nail polish when I was a kid, or painting my nails for prom in high school, but it was mostly a very occasional thing. I did get into painting my nails more often for a little while in college. I dressed up as Scarlet Witch for Halloween freshman or sophomore year, like kind of based on how she looks in Age of Ultron, and I bought some black nail polish for that and realized I really liked having black nails. But I also didn't know anything about best practices with nail polish, like how to keep it from chipping right away, or how to keep my nails from getting dried out and peeling from the acetone. So after a bit, I just kind of gave up because nail polish didn't really feel worth it with the issues I was having. But then a few years after that, the Sophia Nygaard X Holo Taco collection was announced, and I was already a big fan of Sophia and kind of knew about Holo Taco and Simply Nailogical through her content. So I knew I wanted to get the collab polishes just as a fan of Sophia and as a casual enjoyer of polish. But while I was waiting for the collection to be released, because they announced it a few months in advance, I started watching more Simply Nailogical content. And from that, I learned about top and base coat and nail oil and all the other nail painting and nail care stuff that would make it an actual sustainable hobby and not something that I would get frustrated by and give up on again. So that was September 2023. And since then, when I got the Sophia polishes in the mail and painted my nails that first time using everything I had learned, and the polishes actually stayed on without chipping, I've been hooked. It's been the hobby that I engage with most consistently. I basically always have polish on my nails. I watch YouTube videos about it. I make YouTube videos about it. It's become a big part of my life. And I have some theories about why I kind of went from 0 to 60 so quickly with this hobby, and why it has stuck around for me more so than some of my other hobbies, but I might save that for another video. Next is a more simple question. How many polishes do you own? I have 142 polishes, and that's not counting top and base coats, by the way. I know Linry and Ashley and Nicole like to argue about what does and doesn't count. I don't count top and base coats because I think of them as a basic essential like nail polish remover. So it's 142 actual polishes. 78 are from Holo Taco, so a little more than half. Then I have 25 Mooncats, 20 Cadillacers, 15 Lurids, and 4 Geeky Bees. And I think that's a pretty reasonable number for the amount of time I've been in this hobby. It's a number where people who aren't super into nail polish think it's a ton, but people who are very into this hobby often have way more. But it feels manageable for me, it's not overwhelming, which I think is the important thing. And I don't mind if my collection grows some in the upcoming year, but I'm also not looking to add a lot to my collection. And then the last nail polish related question is, have you thought about doing any more videos about mixing polishes? I have thought about it because, as this commenter probably knows, my short with the most views is about mixing a couple different polishes to get the perfect blue linear holo for a biflag mani. I usually get between 1,000 and 2,000 views on my shorts, and that one has 32,000. So I would do other shorts like it, but I just don't tend to have a lot of ideas for mixing polish, especially because if I like a polish as is, I don't want to use too much of it in a mix. I could always do smaller amounts, like just a few drops of each polish to see what color it ends up being, rather than mixing larger amounts in an empty bottle, but I would still need to come up with more ideas for mixes or reasons that I would want to mix polish. So yeah, no specific plans to do more polish mixing, but I probably will do it again at some point, if only to see if I get a lot of views again or if it was just a fluke. And then we've got a couple more personal questions. One is, do you have any pets? I do. I have a cat named Lilith. You've probably seen her if you've watched my videos, especially if you watched till the end, because I always put a clip of her as the end screen, but she also shows up at other times. And she's been in my life for about 4 years because that's how long I've been with my partner, and she was his cat before she was our cat. I never used to think I was a cat person because I interacted with dogs more growing up, and I'm kind of allergic to cats. Like when I first started spending time around Lilith, I would definitely get pretty sneezy. But I take allergy medication, and I also just adjusted over time and got used to her. So by the time my partner and I moved in together, it wasn't too much of an issue. And at this point, I have fully converted to being a cat person. I love her so much. She can be a little sharp sometimes, but for the most part, she's very cuddly and very social and just very entertaining to have around, so I'm glad she's part of my life. And the last question I got was, I'd love to know what you do for work. So I am currently unemployed. The job market is tough. I graduated in 2024 with a master's degree in creative writing, and since then I've had a couple short-term jobs. I've taught college composition, I did some standardized test scoring, I worked in a thrift store for a little while, but I haven't really had any luck with the kinds of things that I can see myself doing long-term. Ideally, I'd like to work in a university setting, like doing academic advising or other student support things. I mean, actually, ideally, I'd like to do YouTube full-time, but I am not making money on here. So wish me luck that I get a job I like before too long. It's been kind of rough applying and interviewing for months without getting anything. And that's why I've really enjoyed making YouTube videos this year. Like, if the only thing I was focusing on was applying for jobs, then maybe I'd have time for a few more applications, but I also don't enjoy the job search process, and it can be really discouraging at times. So that's why it's been great to have something else to focus on that lets me be creative and interact with all of you. It's been really fun, and like I said, I would totally do YouTube full-time if I could. So I just want to say thank you to everyone who has watched my videos and commented and subscribed. It really means a lot when people say they've been looking forward to my videos or when you leave thoughtful comments. So I really appreciate all of you, and I'm looking forward to making more videos in the coming year. But yeah, I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you to everyone who's watching till the end. Let me know in the comments if you were surprised by any of my answers, or if you have any other questions for me, and I'll try to answer them. And if you enjoyed this video, I would love it if you would leave me a like, or maybe even subscribe. Hyping videos is apparently also a thing you can do now. You could also follow me on Instagram, linked below. But thank you to everyone who has done any of that, and I'll see you next time. Bye!